after 1978, you get to the point where Stevie has, kind of put it on cruise control. And Stevie Wonder's cruise control is a lot better than most people's fifth gear. Everybody, right on time for another ride on the Groove Line with your boy Chris Stevens. Hopefully you all are doing well out there. If you're just tuning in, this is day number 2 of the week of Wonder. Stevie Wonder's birthday is Wednesday, May 13th. So every day this week, we're going to talk about something different, something fresh, something exciting, something great about the greatness that is Stevie. And today on Tuesday, we are talking about the post-classic period Stevie. Now, we can talk about the classic period all day long. In fact, Friday is how we're going to close it out with a ranking 1 through 5 of the classic period albums. Yeah, we're going there on Friday. But before we get to that, we got to talk about everything that happened after Songs in the Key of Life, which dominated all of 70, the rest of 76, all of 77, and a good portion of 1978. But 1979 was when Stevie sort of entered a heat check mode, where he's like, I can just do anything I want. I'm Stevie Wonder, dog. And that was never more evident than on Journey Through the Secret Life of Plants. I still can't tell you what that album is about. I ain't gonna lie to you. Outside of Send One Your Love, I don't know what the hell to make of that. I know it was a movie, and the people who came to Stevie said, Stevie, would you like to score this movie for us? And Stevie said, oh, yeah, baby, I think I can do that. Yeah, that's not a problem. Yeah, I can do that. So he did it. It's just like, listening to it as much as I could, it's like, okay. All right. Sure. Okay, you can do that. You're Stevie. But it gets better by the time we get to the turn of the 80s and Hotter Than July. Hotter Than July has so many great moments on it, is why people probably consider it, like, you know how they consider Billy Preston the fifth Beatle? Like, you might as well say that Hotter Than July is the sixth member of the classic period. Because you look at it like this. You got Master Blaster, dedicated to Bob Marley, who, unbeknownst to most, was dying of cancer at this particular point in time. You have Lately, which is still one of the saddest songs I've ever heard in my entire life. And Stevie has a few of those. But yeah, Lately is the one that Casey and JoJo of Jodeci turned into a tour de force on their Unplugged. But Stevie's version of Lately just, it hurts to listen to. It hurts to listen to. You've got Happy Birthday, which we've done an entirely different episode on, talking about the 40th anniversary of Martin Luther King Day and how Stevie made that happen with Happy Birthday to you. Happy birthday. Like, it's a whole new way to sing happy birthday. Like, Black people, we're the most creative people on the planet, man. We are. And the way that we can turn happy birthday to you into happy birthday to you, that's what we do. We are creative. We are original. We have pizzazz. We have sauce. We have seasoning. That's just what we do. But I think the real gem on Hotter Than July is Rocket Love. Like, I don't know how you don't listen to that song and don't count it as one of Stevie's best ballads and love songs. You think about what he says from the beginning. I've longed for you since I was born, a woman sensitive and warm, and that you were. And then, you took me riding in your rocket, gave me a star, but then a half a mile from heaven, you dropped me back down to this cold, cold world. Like, that's really, it's twofold meaning to me. Like, from a romantic standpoint, he's saying, I've never felt this good about somebody in my life. And then if you want to add an intimate connotation to it, it's an orgasm. Like, the OJs had Stairway to Heaven, Rocket Love, same thing. But I think that's the gem from Hotter Than July. Of course, All I Do, you can't count that out because of the all-star cast of backing vocalists that included Eddie Levert, the Kang, Michael Jackson, rest in peace. Betty Wright, one of the true soul philosophers of the South. May she rest in peace as well. Like, who else was on there? Was it George Benson doing backing vocals on that too? Stevie just had a bunch of people in the studio that day and say, hey, y'all want to help me with this song? And they said, okay, yeah, sure. Because of Stevie Wonder, man. And I mean, you ain't gonna turn down Stevie Wonder, especially since Stevie is a good human being anyway. But Stevie Wonder, a good human being and one of the greatest musicians to ever live, asks you, hey, you want to, give me some backing on this? And then people are going to say, of course. That's Stevie, man. That's the power of Stevie. And then you get into Musicquarium. Musicquarium is just a collection of songs from the hit period of Stevie's life from 1962 to 1980, which was a very expansive period. But then there are a couple of original tracks on there. Of course, there's Ribbon in the Sky, one of the greatest wedding songs ever recorded. By the way, I'm one of those people that can't stand when people cover Stevie songs, but Intro's version of Ribbon in the Sky is a heater, dog. I don't know too many people that could turn a song like that into a 90s quiet storm R&B classic. But Intro did that with Ribbon in the Sky. Not saying that Jodeci's version of Lately is bad. Not saying that. But if you had to make me pick the better cover, and this is just my personal opinion, Intro's version of Ribbon in the Sky is probably the best Stevie Wonder cover to ever exist. That's right, I said it. Debate me on it if you want to. But That Girl is my favorite from the original set of Music. I mean, Do I Do, that's a great one too because he has Dizzy Gillespie on that one. But That Girl always feels like a great song to just relax to. Or if it's like a great summer day, spring day, or a fall day, and you're out running errands. Like I always like to listen to that song when I'm driving out running errands on a Thursday or Friday or Saturday. If I'm going to the grocery store, or if I have to go pick something up for a friend or a family member, or if I just want to get out and go for a drive, and that song pops up on my playlist on shuffle, it's like, all right, yeah, now it feels like a good time. That Girl is Stevie at his whimsical, romantic, having fun best. Telling this girl, he loves her, he wants her, his mind, body, and soul needs her, and that she's, been playing hard to get, really. I've been hurting for a long time, and you've been playing for a long time. It's time to do what we got to do. Yeah, like he's just saying, like, all right, enough of me chasing you. Please let me catch you so we can get down to business. And of course, you get to the middle part of the 80s, you get to the Woman in Red soundtrack. And no, is it the Woman in Red or the Lady in Red? Because I know there's an old song back in the day, the Lady in Red. I think it's either Lady in Red or Woman in Red. I can't remember the name of the movie, but I know the title track belonged to a guy named Chris de Burgh, but Stevie did most of the rest of it. Love, Light, and Flight, that's probably a top 3 post-classic era Stevie song. Like he dipped into a funkier bag on that one, even though the electro was just as strong as the funk was. Like it's electro funk in an era where electro funk was starting to kind of die out a little bit, because you get to 85, you start to get, some early New Jack Swing elements with the boom bap and R&B. But 84, you still had that mix of live instrumentation and the figuring out of drum machines and synthesizers and all of that. Stevie already had all this stuff figured out. That's why his stuff sounded so much cleaner than everyone else's at the time, because Stevie had been playing with synths and things since the early part of the 70s when he met up with Bob Margouleff and Malcolm Cecil of Tonto. So Stevie already knew how to play with technology and make technology his what's the word I'm looking for here? I mean, y'all know the word I'm looking for. I don't want to say it, but you know what I mean. Stevie knew how to manipulate technology to work for him. Let's just put it like that. So there's that. And then there's the song that everybody loves. And I'm afraid to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. I Just Called to Say I Love You. I can't stand that damn song. It's been overplayed to death. Enough is enough, my good people. Please. Stevie has so much better in his arsenal of love songs and ballads and wedding songs. Please let I Just Called to Say I Love You go. Please. Y'all gonna fight me on this one. I don't care. I can't stand that damn song. I am sorry. Sorry. But it is what it is. Then next year he comes out with In Square Circle, and I already did an episode on Part-Time Lover, which was the first Stevie Wonder song I had ever heard. And it was the one that made me a Stevie Wonder fan from the age of 3 years old. 41 years later, I am still a Stevie Wonder fan. And there's also Overjoyed, which honestly, I'll never forget. On social media, I was talking, with some folks about it, and I'll never forget Bomani Jones, the great writer and critic, mentioned that might be Stevie's most pedestrian sort of love song, because it feels like a guilt trip in some respects. And I never thought about it like that until I heard Bo say it. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of like, him kind of like trying to laying a guilt trip on this woman. Like, I've already built this castle of love, and some say it's made rather bold. What do they know? She ain't interested, bro. It is what it is. She's not overjoyed for you, like you're overjoyed over her. It is what it is. Gotta move on. Then there's characters. Characters is when Stevie really started to make an impression on me with Skeletons. Never forget, because when I was working at a job where we had a performer teaching people and kids how to play music. And this gent was like really, he was one of the people who actually appreciated what I did at this job. Very few people did. But when he was stepping away from the program to do something else, because he was retired, he was like ready to go really retire. He said, Chris, I want to give you something. And I said, well, I can't really accept gifts, but I mean, I don't work there anymore, so it doesn't matter. So he says, come out to the car. And he gives me this Casio keyboard, which is dated as a mother, but I always wanted to learn how to play keys. So I just slid it in the back of my Honda CRV at that particular point in time. And it's been sitting in my closets ever since. But I mean, I've messed around with it a little bit. And when I messed around with it, guess what was the first thing I tried to play? Skeletons. I love Skeletons. That is still one of my favorite Stevie Wonder songs of all time. It is still one of my favorite songs of the 80s. It was still one of the favorite songs when I first started to discover what music was. And Stevie was just literally in a bag of, he's always been in a bag of truth. But the thing about people just lying to lie all the time, like that song just never gets tired, especially when you talk about it's getting ready to blow, it's getting ready to show. Somebody shot off at the mountain. We're getting ready to know. Skeletons is just one of those songs that tells you everything you need to know about Stevie Wonder as a musician, as a person of principle, as a person of morality, as a person of unselfishness. Because not only is he saying that, what did your mama tell you about lying? She said it wasn't polite to tell a white one. What did your daddy tell you about lying? So he said one white one turns into a black one. He's basically saying, tell the truth in whatever you do. And if you lie, it's going to catch up to you. It always does. There's an old saying that what you do in the dark will always come to the light. So that's basically what Stevie was saying on Skeletons. He just said it in a real funky late 80s keyboard drenched kind of way. And I mean, whenever I hear Skeletons, I have to listen to it at least 3, 4, 5 times in a row. I just have to. Also on that album, there's With Each Beat of My Heart, which I love very much as well. And You Will Know. I mean, late era Stevie, for the most part, he did. I mean, he wasn't the same Stevie Wonder that had the run of the 70s, but he wasn't a slouch either as he got older. You got the Jungle Fever soundtrack. And people are probably going to get on me for saying this, is like, Chris, how can you hate I Just Called to Say I Love You, but swear by these 3 words? Because it's more realistic. The bridge, when he talks about, how when somebody passes away, that, one was called from life to survive upon the loss, they'll never be the same, yet they rejoice in knowing that they gave them their all. That's more realistic than no New Year's Day, no spring. God, I hate that song. But yeah, these 3 words, which of course are I love you, sweet and simple. It's more realistic. It's more holistic. It's more authentic, is what I mean to say. These 3 words to me is much more authentic than I Just Called to Say I Love You. That's just my personal opinion. Then you get into, there's Conversation Piece and A Time to Love, which was A Time to Love was the first album, the first R&B album that I reviewed as a journalist. And I did it for my school newspaper because I was the only one who was an undergrad excited about a new Stevie Wonder album in the spring of 2005. that was me. My peers were listening to Beyonce. They were, because that was around the time Destiny Fulfilled came out. That was the last Destiny Child album to this day. What else were they listening to? Shucks. There was a lot going on. I mean, Usher was still on the charts then. T.I. was on the charts. Hove was still doing things. I mean, he did Best of Both Worlds, Unfinished Business with the Pied Predator, but that didn't end very well. 50 had come out with his second album. Game had come out. Mariah Carey had just released The Emancipation of Mimi, but I was excited for A Time to Love. And So What the Fuss was my jam, especially when I found out that Prince was playing on it. Prince, pop it. And then Vogue is doing the So What the Fuss. I was on it. Yes, I did a review for my school newspaper for A Time to Love. Nobody asked for it, but my editor at the time, the late great Mike Feeney, God rest his soul, he let me do it. So that was the first R&B album I ever reviewed. I still wish I had that newspaper. I really, really do. But yeah, I mean, Stevie, from a post classic era perspective, you're not gonna get that as many memorable moments as you had during the classic period or even the pre-classic period. But you still get a sense of a dude who understands his place as a statesman, as an ambassador of Black music and Black culture. There's not a point where you can point to a Stevie sellout record, because everything Stevie Wonder did had to be from the heart, had to be from the soul, had to be for his people. Like, this was the same dude who went ahead and did We Are the World. And even though We Are the World was just kind of like one of those cheesy things from the 80s that we remember a little more fondly than we probably should. But these are things that, you know, people, these are the things that you needed Stevie Wonder on. That's what friends are for. Keep smiling, keep shining, knowing you can always count on me. Yeah, these are the type of things you needed Stevie Wonder on. And he delivered every single time. So after 1978, you get to the point where Stevie has, you know, kind of put it on cruise control. And Stevie Wonder's cruise control is a lot better than most people's fifth gear. Let's keep it completely honest. If we are being a buck, there are only a few fifth gears that can compete with Stevie Wonder's cruise control. Prince, Mike, Beyonce. That's it. That's the list. Anybody else you want to throw out there? No. Madonna? No. Usher, love him to death. No. Don't even mention anybody from today. No. Stevie Wonder settling into a laid back sort of role later on in his career is still better than most people's absolute best. Like I said, Usher, like I said, Mike, Beyonce, Prince. Those are the only three that I think can compete with him on that level. That's it. That's the list. But what is your favorite post classic period Stevie Wonder song or album? Let me know in the comments. Let's talk about it. That's going to do it for day number 2 of the Week of Wonder here on the Groove Line. Really appreciate y'all as always. Contact information will be in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe, tap that notification bell to be notified of all the new videos that drop on this channel. And don't forget to like and comment on these videos, because as you know by now, your boy talks back in the comments. So thank you guys for riding with me on the Groove Line, and until the next time we ride, which will be tomorrow, may you find the groove, or may the groove find you.